Morning, welcome to Greenwood Bonsai studio today. It's a bright sunny bank holiday weekend. We're expecting to be quite busy, but before the customers turn up, I thought we'd just show you a tree that we worked on before in one of our early videos. About 14 months ago, last April, we did some work on this Japanese White Beech, Fagus Crenata. It's one that had come in from a private collection and it had been a little bit neglected. It was a little bit sorry for itself. And if you watch the video back, the first video, there's a link to it just in the corner now, you'll see what we did with this tree. We had to remove quite a few dead branches that were on it, and then I wired the branches that were left and we repotted it into a larger bonsai pot. It's then just been in our greenhouse, being looked after for the last 14 months or so. We just lifted it out yesterday and you can see the amount of growth it's put on is really quite impressive in that time. So it's come into the studio now because the wire that we've put on, some of the wire's just getting a little bit tight and ready to be removed. So we've got a few jobs to do. We've got to take all this wire off the tree. We'll take off the entire tree. We've also got to shorten back some of this extension growth here to get that back into shape. And the other thing we've noticed, we've got a little dead branch here, look, so it was struggling a little bit, and this branch, obviously I'd wired it and it's died off, so that hasn't leafed, so we'll have to remove that, and we'll probably just wire something else into place, so I don't think we'll really miss it too much. If you have a look in here, we took quite a lot of branches off this tree, and in here where we took the branch off and we put cut paste over the top of the scar, look at how well it's healing. If I take that cut paste off, this callus tissue here has already rolled in about 8mm just in the last year, so it's not far off completely closing in. See here, there's another scar from many years ago that's already healed in and replaced itself with bark, so this is on the way to doing it. So all in all, we're quite pleased with how it's been progressing. So I'll say the next thing to do is to give it a trim and a tidy up. Yeah. Hello, welcome back to me in the studio working on this Japanese White Beech. We've been super busy this last few days over the Jubilee weekend, but between customers we've lifted this tree outside and we've removed all the wire that was on it, so it's now got no wire on it at all. The branches that we'd put in position have stayed set in position fairly well. It's come back into the studio now. It's towards the end of the day and we haven't got any customers about, so I thought I'd just finish up just trimming it for you. So some of this long growth, I don't want to cut it back too much, but I do want to just nip some of the tips out on this to just encourage it to stay fairly compact and not get too broad. The top of this tree hasn't put on quite as much foliage and density as these lower sections. So the top of the tree was always a little bit lighter in growth. So if I just shorten some of these lower sections out down here, I'll just take this back a little bit into here, this a little bit long. And then I'm going to try, hopefully this will encourage the top to get more density because we're taking a little bit of the vigour out these lower sections, and it'll just balance the vigour throughout the tree. It's put on quite a bit of growth. It was suffering a little bit before we did that repot last year. If you watch back to the first video, you'll see me trimming it back and wiring it. It had been a little bit neglected before it came to us. It's put on a new branch in here, which I'm going to keep for now. I'm just going to shorten the tips of it back. We're going to keep it into here because it helps to fill in this section of the tree, otherwise is a little bit weak, so we might train this into here in future, but for now spin it round, going back to these strong shoots, and often it's sort of 4 or 5 leaves, so I'm taking it back to sort of from 4 or 5 to 1 or 2 leaves. These sections that are growing strongly upward, these ones that are growing out a little bit too much, I'm going to take the opportunity to shorten some of this back and chase back into the tree, just make it a little bit more compact, this section here. These are growing a little bit too long, this one and here. And up into here, some of these larger shoots, let's just take them back structurally, see where they're coming from, shorten back these vigorous ones. They can get quite dense, Japanese white beech. You know, a lot of owners, when they get really dense, you can go in and do like a partial defoliation, remove some of the leaves, just to let some light in to these inner branches. If they get too dense, you can get inner branches sort of dying off just through lack of light. So we don't want that to occur. But if I can shorten and thin this section here out, a little bit off the top, but not too much. They're all good, strong, healthy leaves. And last year it struggled quite a bit. So this year it's really powering ahead, doing really quite well. It's nice to see it progressing so well from previous years. So I'll just shorten these back. Just working my way around the tree. Just giving it a little bit of prune to shape. Okay, so I've finished pruning this Japanese white beech. If I just spin it round so you can have a quick look at it. I'm really pleased with the amount of growth this has put on. It was ailing a little bit in health when I first worked on it a year ago. You check back to that video, you'll see that it was struggling a bit. We repotted it and I wired it, and we took off some dead branches. It unfortunately got quite a few dead branches. They're healing really well. We're quite pleased with the progress it's made. Now it's had this first pruning, we're going to start getting some more food on it. We feed it with Naruko, and we'll feed it the next couple of months, and then it will have a prune later on in the year when hopefully it's put on this much growth again. You can see with what's on the floor how much growth has come off this. We've probably took about a third of the foliage off the tree just to get a bit more definition and just to lighten it all up. Get some more light in there so these lower branches can grow well and this top can fill out. It's probably a sort of, I would say with the stage it's at now, it's probably about a year and a half off being going out for sale on the bench, and by the time we can get it out for sale on our benches here in a year and a half, it would have undergone quite a transformation from when it first came into us in its more neglected state. By all means, please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out any updates on this tree. If you haven't already, check back and look at the first video we did of this so you can see the progress. It's important with the trees we work on here. We're working on them over several years, so we're trying to go back to show you the progress of them so you can see how it develops at each stage of progress. And thank you very much for watching. Take care.